right, whenever you all are ready, take it away.
Okay, I will kick this thing off. I want to welcome everybody to this edition of what we're still trying to come up with a name for. I don't know, Resource Blitz, Resource Rendezvous, whatever the case may be. Regardless, it's kind of a new era of partnership for the Seneca Regional Chamber and the Tiffin-Seneca Economic Partnership. Bryce Riggs and Deb Maturana on the line, and they've got almost going towards 400 strong members, and we're working with a lot of businesses as well, trying to reach out to hundreds of businesses. And so together, I think we both share a mission of trying to get resources into the hands of business. And one, I think, outgrowth of the negative impact of coronavirus is do a lot of webinars. And so we want to do a lot more of these. People can get on and listen, or let's do it recording. We think that would be great. So today we are very fortunate to not only be joined by Bryce and Deb Maturana from the Chamber, but also our speakers today. We have Luke Hook from the Lieutenant Governor's Office. She represents Northwest Ohio, and who's been a staunch ally and friend of Tiffin-Seneca County for a long time. And has personally helped businesses grow here, I know. And then someone who's someone new, I'm just getting to meet and get to know, Tori Atkinson, who works with our friends at Northwest State Community College, where they're teaching classes now at the Fostory Learning Center. So they're present in our county doing good work for businesses. And they're going to talk today about money. They're going to talk today about money that businesses can get to get their employees credential-based training. And I'll, up to $30K, up to $2,000 per credential. And they're going to tell us how it works and how companies can take advantage of this and whether it makes sense or not. So that, I'll turn it over to Audrey, you and the speakers. And again, thanks everybody for coming.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Luann and Tori, our presenters for the day. Luann, if you want to go first and introduce yourself, and Tori, that'd be
Sure,
great.
I'll do that. And Tori's running the screen. She's running the screens, I think. Or are you, Audrey? I can't remember.
Tori's got control, and it looks great.
Good. Yep, we're all up. Yeah, I'm, as David said, Luke Hook from the Lieutenant Governor's Office. And I'm the Northwest Ohio Regional Liaison for John Husted. I cover 23 counties. It's been very difficult sitting at home for almost a year, but hopefully soon we can be back out on the road and I can join you guys over there, and happy to present this program. It is relatively easy to work through, and there really is something for everybody. Although on this slide, it appears that it's all manufacturing and that kind of technology, but there's a lot more. There's even horticulture, there's training for people that have body shops and car repair places, and it's very encompassing, and just about everything you could have on a Microsoft Office program, you can get training for. So Tori, I'll let you tell them who you are.
Thank you, Lou. I'm Tori Atkinson, the Director of Workforce Development and Innovative Learning at Northwest State Community College in Archbold. And we are very happy to be offering computer classes, leadership classes, and technical topics now at the Learning Center there in Fostoria. So that's awesome. I work with the Ohio TechCred program just here for the college. When it launched in October 2019, just tried to learn as much as we could, get the word out to all of the Ohio businesses so that you could take advantage of it. So yeah, I'm excited to tell you more about it as we go.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started here. TechCred was a brainchild out of the Lieutenant Governor's Office, and he actually campaigned on this sort of a thing and when they were elected. So this became part of the administration and part of the first budget, and we're hoping it will continue. We are funded through the end of June for this program. So please, if this seems like something that's going to work for you, please get a hold of either one of us, and we can help you with this. Next slide. So you say, why TechCred? And as the Lieutenant Governor, when he talks about it, it's a win-win for Ohio. It's a win-win for employers and employees, and they can grow their talent and expand their businesses. After 6 application periods, it's good to share these numbers with you. We've had 966 Ohio employers that have been awarded $16 million, and over 15,000 credentials have been funded. And our hope the first year was that we would do those numbers, and we met our goal on that. So hopefully with your help and some of the businesses there in Seneca County and surrounding, we can continue these numbers. There's been 326 employers that have received awards in multiple rounds. And as you can see, it's only about a third of those who have applied do it on the second round. And I think things were stalled a little bit in March, not just a little bit, I think quite a bit, when everything was shut down there through the March, April, May timeframe, and it kind of changed this. So we're gearing up, getting ready to go again. And there originally were about 300 credentials that were on the list. And because of it was to be driven by the businesses, not by the Department of Education, last round we added 132 credentials, and we're up to over 1,200 credentials. That is a ton. But again, these credentials have been added because of the employers that have asked for them. And as far as getting started, you just need to identify the skills that you need in your ops, in your operations, and the employees kind of figure out who they're going to be. And you partner with a credential provider, a training company, and it doesn't have to be in Ohio. It can be out of state, and you apply for TechCred, and then you get pre-approved. But you do have to, your employees have to live in Ohio. Again, the training provider does not have to be from Ohio, but your employee has to live in Ohio. So you enroll for the program, and once they've completed the training, you just upload proof that the credential has been completed, either by certificate or some kind of documentation from the training provider, and then you get your money back. Pretty simple. So one of the updates that we came across in March of last year when the pandemic hit, we realized some of the employers that had applied back in January of 20 and October of 19, they lost that employer, or their business plans changed somewhat, and they downsized or whatever happened. And we realized we wanted to make that a lot easier. So even for the employers that are looking to add employees, say 6 months from now, you don't know who they are, you don't know their names, but you know you're going to fill a slot, and you know they're going to need training. You can apply, you can pre-apply for those employees ahead of time and get approved. And when they hit the door, you can get them in the training program. So that's been a really great addition. People really like that. So again, you don't have to identify that individual employee, just how many credentials you're going to need. And another piece of this program that was developed with all businesses in mind, instead of the incumbent training that was done a few years ago, we actually, the Lieutenant Governor wanted to give a small, medium, and large employers the same amount of money in their pot, so that they were just as it was easy for them to get applied, as well as 200 plus employers. So a smaller shop, less than 50 employees, aren't going to be up against a Whirlpool or a large employee. So you say, what is a credential? Well, a credential it comes down to 2 items. One is a certificate, and that would be, an example of that would be like at the end of say a Microsoft training that you've done online, you get a certificate that says you've completed the training, and that's your certificate. That's all you need to show the state of Ohio that you've taken the training for certificate. Now, a certification is a little bit different. That means you're actually going to be tested, and it will cost a little bit more money, and Tori will explain that to you, how you can build that into your application. But basically, a certification is after the training is done, you're demonstrating your skills and you're getting a certification. And what makes a credential eligible is it's industry recognized, would be across all industry somehow. And that's the great thing about applying for new credentials is if you need it, usually somebody else needs it too. Needs to be technology focused and has to be less than 12 months. So adding credentials to the list, and Tori does a really great job of explaining that, showing you screenshots. So I won't spend a lot of time on that, but just because you don't see it on the list, please don't think that there's not an opportunity to add that in, because like I said, we've added more than 700 credentials to this list because of the companies that have requested it. Award amounts are $2,000 per credential per person. So, but you can actually build on that credential and you can put them together. And again, Tori will get to that piece in her presentation and pay really close attention to that, because she explains how you can bundle more than one class under one credential. And like I said, multiple credentials can be earned by one employee, and every employer has $30,000 each funding round. A prime example of that, we use Grove as kind of our poster child, because they have applied for every round, which means they will have received $180,000 worth of training dollars, and that adds up after a while. And again, we kind of talked about the reimbursement process. Really need 3 pieces of paper: proof of completion, an invoice where you have proof of payment, and then the information about the credential earner. There's a place for you to put their information into that, but only at the time you apply for reimbursement, not early on. And here's the information, the website, TechCred.Ohio.gov. And right now we have a grant period open. It will end January 29th at 3 p.m. So if you're interested, please don't wait till 1 o'clock on January 29th, because it'll be due at 3 o'clock. So if you're interested, I would suggest you go ahead and get in there and take a look at it. And I think you'll find it pretty easy once Tori goes through her presentation. And I'll put my information in the chat. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Lou. So we're gonna dive into the application and how you want to complete that, the information that you'll need. So let's just go right into it. So where to start? TechCred.Ohio.gov. That's your website. And I've got too many things on the screen here. My apologies. So when you get there, you're going to see these 3 menu options at the top of the screen: About, Apply, and Resources. Once you click About, you'll have this menu. You want to go to the credential list. This is how you're going to search for what is already on that pre-approved credential list that you can apply for. And if it's not there, I'll show you a little bit later in the presentation how you can request to have a credential added. So you can see there is something for everybody. They did a great job of taking those 1,220 different credentials, and they broke them in 8 categories. So you've got your business technology, your IT, cybersecurity, manufacturing, healthcare. So whatever it is that you're looking for, you can dive right into one of those specific industries, or you can choose to keep the all selected, enter your keyword search on what credential you're looking for, and you can narrow it down that way, because then you'll be able to filter as different results come up. So again, this is searching for the credential when you go to the TechCred website. Also down here is the certificate or the certification. You can check either one of those if you only want to search for one or the other, and that will also help filter down your results. So here I just kind of took, and I clicked on healthcare, and I just let the list of credentials populate as they do. I didn't put anything in the keyword search, and I didn't filter in any format here. So you can see, you just start to see the different credentials that you're available to on the pre-approved list under the healthcare. It's really cool. I love that they put certificate or certification right next to the credential so that you easily can identify whether you have to complete a course or a series of courses, or if you have to sit for that third-party assessment. And in healthcare, I think we'll probably see a lot more certifications than certificates just based on that particular industry. So when you have found your credential, you're ready to complete the application, or whether you didn't find your credential, but you want to add one. Again, TechCred.Ohio.gov, those three same menu options, only this time we're going to click on apply. This is a list of information that I highly suggest you gather before you go into the application to apply. It will make the application entry portion so much simpler, quicker, easier if you have this information up front. Some of the things, and I'll show you where to find these. So this supplier ID and Ohio charter number, those aren't always the easiest numbers for companies to find. Some of them have them right at their fingertips. Others, we have to do some searching. So I just want to make sure that we know where to find this information, how to obtain it, and make sure you have it ahead of time. However, if you don't, you can go ahead and start that application, and you can complete as much of it as you do know. You can save it, and then you can go back into it before that deadline of January 29th and add the rest of the information that you didn't have at that time. So once you log in, or once you go to the application, you'll log in with your Ohio ID. If you do not have one, you're just going to click this Create an Ohio ID. I did not have one prior to TechCred, so I had to go through this process too. Super easy. This is all you have to fill out. This is your personal information, though. This is not company information. This Ohio ID belongs to you as an individual. You do want to put your work phone number. Your mobile number is optional. Date of birth, your four last digits of your social security number, and then your email. So while I said this is my personal information, I put my work email in this box. I just felt like it was probably going to follow me anywhere I needed this Ohio ID. So I went ahead and I did do that. It is instantaneous. They email you the your login information. You log in with a temporary ID, change your password to something that you'll remember, and then you can log in right away to the TechCred application. So once you've done that, you'll see that here's always going to tell you the current funding round. Here's that 3 p.m. deadline. And then you just click on the big yellow button that says apply. You'll have to go ahead and enter your federal tax ID number. So that's one of the very first pieces of information. If you have not applied before, you will not see anything here. It will be blank. Since Northwest State has applied in different rounds, we do have those previous applications are here just for viewing. They do say that they're servicing because we have not yet submitted for reimbursement of all the different credentials that we applied for during those rounds. I think I'm probably coming down to my wire here on this January when I'm pushing the envelope a little bit. But if you don't have anything there, or if you do, you're still going to select the big red button that says next or new application. And right away, this is going to be your applicant information. This is where you're going to start everything. Here's that supplier ID. This number is something that you apply for to do business with the state of Ohio, not in the state of Ohio. So there's a little bit of a difference there. If you've ever received any grants, you would definitely have a supplier ID for sure, because you can't receive grant money from the state unless you have that. If you're not familiar with what your supplier ID is, I did not know what Northwest States was, but I did go to our business office, to our director, and she had those key numbers that I needed right at her fingertips. I have found that controllers and CFOs typically have this number as well if you're going to look internally to find it. If you do not know what it is, you can go out and do a search on this supplier.ohio.gov website. I don't care for that website very well. I think a lot of companies choose to either make the phone call or send an email. And you may not have a supplier ID and you'll need to apply for it. So I recommend that being one of the very first things you do if you want to apply this round yet and you haven't started this. Check that supplier number because it does take a couple of days to be created if you have to apply for one. It also has to be 10 digits in length. So our number is 689. However, I had to add 7 zeros in the front of it so that it would complete the 10 characters. If it's not, it will not allow you to submit. It pre-populated my federal tax ID number. Yes, I'm a government entity. And now your business name. You must enter your business name identical to how it's registered with the Ohio Secretary of State's office. So I'll show you that in the next screenshot, what that looks like. You just do a business search on the Secretary of State's website. And then you'll also find your Ohio charter number. It's also called the entity number. It is in the same place where you're going to find your business name on the Secretary of State's website. Again, this has to be 7 characters or digits in length. So we had to add a 0 in front to make sure we were submitting with 7 full characters. So when you go to the Secretary of State's website, you're going to do a business search. So it's really easy. If you scroll down on the homepage just a little bit, probably halfway down, there's a 12 or 15 different blocks that you can choose from, different menu options. And one of them is business search. So when you come in here, you're going to want to put your business name in this box and then click the search. I had to do this several times when I first applied for TechCred on behalf of the college. I was not aware that we were still listed as Northwest Technical when I was searching. So I was searching Northwest State, I was, Northwest State Community College, and then I had to learn some tricks. This name search help, that's going to give you different characters that work as wildcards, depending on if you want to say, well, my business name contains Northwest. I ended up, I believe, just putting in Northwest. I went down here and I exported my results to a CSV file. It let me then be able to filter based on information that I knew accordingly to the different blocks that were available to me. That is when I discovered we were known as Northwest Technical College. So that worked really well. And then right here is my entity number. So when I did my very first application for TechCred, I put Northwest Technical College, added a 0 in front, and there was my charter number. But I want to, you know what? I want to back up for just 1 second. So you can see here, along the way, they've changed my business name to be Northwest State Community College. So these gray boxes pre-populate for me because I have already completed applications. So that's going to be a huge time saver for you in future rounds, is that once you have this information, you have it. It won't help you, or it will help you complete future round applications faster. So then you're just going to complete the rest of the company identifying information, address, county, what's your industry, full-time employees in Ohio. So that's kind of a key piece there. You do probably have employees coming from different parts of maybe pulling from Indiana a little bit. I'm trying to think of where exactly you pull from. You only wants to know your employees in Ohio. As Lou explained, it's only eligible for employees that are residents of Ohio. So that's why it's only asking you for how many full-time employees you have within the state. Your business website, and then your contact information. If you have someone completing the application different than who you would want to be the contact person, you could say yes down here to this last question, and it would open additional blocks for you to put in that information. So that's the applicant information. We are done with that. We've gotten through the hard part. Now's the easy part. We're moving on to the training plan. So we need to add a credential. So this is where we're going to start building that training plan. This is what you'll see once you add a credential. You want to click on this blue box, select credential. It's going to bring you this drop-down box, and you'll see here, it's going to be the categories that we saw when we searched for a credential, all 8 of them, or again, I can choose all and put in a keyword search to go through all the categories at one time. I specifically selected robotics and automation, and this is what was brought down as some of the possible credentials. It didn't all fit on one screenshot. Again, I love this. They put right here, whether it's a certificate or a certification, so it's easily identifiable to you so that you know the requirements for completion. And if your credential is here, you're just going to go ahead and select it. And you can see I selected FANUC robot operations. It verifies what category that credential is in, and it's telling me again here that it's a certificate. So I only need to complete a course or a series of courses and successfully complete them. I don't have to take that third-party assessment. It's then going to ask you, are you going to be completing this credential in person, online, or a combination of both? And then it's time to fill in your expenses. This is training costs per person. These are the allowable expenses that are reimbursable from TechCred. So any tuition, lab fees, manuals, or textbooks, you want to add all of that together, put in your total, who's going to be your training provider, what type of training provider are they, and up here, this is showing you the different options that you'll see when you pull that drop-down box. This will pre-populate from up here. How much are you requesting for reimbursement? We are going to request $1,500 here because we are still under that $2,000 allowable max, but there will be instances, and I think I've got them on the next couple examples, where the total cost of the training is over $2,000. So you may be requesting less than what the actual training costs are. So then it just shows me that there's no employer contribution because everything is reimbursable through TechCred. The next piece of information is the trainee information. As Lou said, unlike when it launched back in October of 19, you no longer have to complete the identifying information of the trainee. You're just going to tell them how many incumbent employees who's currently employed with you that are going to be taking this credential. I just popped the number 3 in there. What is their average current hourly wage? And because we're not identifying a single candidate, we've got a multiple here. You just need to give them an average on what that looks like. If you expect that they're going to earn a pay raise upon completion of the credential, go ahead and give that average pay increase here as well. If they are not, leave it $20 and $20 instead of bumping this up to $21. Now, if you have open positions and you're expecting to hire new individuals that you are planning to send to this same training, you can go ahead and apply on behalf of that new prospective employee, and it can approve it right away because you've got 12 months to complete the training. So chances are, if you have an open position, hopefully you'll get it filled and they can attend the training. What's their hourly wage going to be? And are they expected to receive an increase after completion? All of these grade fields will pre-populate for you. So 4 employees will be taking this training for an amount of $6,000 reimbursed and a $0 employer contribution. You'll hit the save and close. It brings you to this next screen that is like a summary of what you've entered. So you can see we've got our credential, how much it costs per employee. I've got 3 current, 1 prospective for 4, my 6,000. My status is not submitted because I haven't submitted this for approval yet. To add another credential, you're just going to hit that big red button again. Only this time, we're going to search for a credential that we're unable to find, and so we're going to add one. So again, I left my credential category as all. I looked for engineer, but I don't see what I'm looking for. So I'm going to click this box, credential not listed. I wish to submit an additional credential for review. Once you do that, it's going to populate the name of the credential to be other. I left it under the category of all. Had I not searched under all, say I had gone to manufacturing technologies and I searched engineer, this would actually come back as manufacturing technologies, but I left it at all, so that's where it put it. I'm going to tell it, how is this credential completed? Again, it's online, in person, or a combination. And this here is a really key piece of the information when you're adding a credential that you want to have approved. Is it going to be a certificate or is it going to be a credential? So, or excuse me, a certification. So again, certificate, you're just completing a training course or series of courses. Otherwise, the certification, you're passing that standardized assessment. So you've got to be able to select the right option for what you want there. So here I went ahead and I selected that it's going to be a certificate. So now I'm going to fill in the name. I have a space here to provide evidence on why this credential meets the technology focused requirement. Will this be for college credit or no? It's just yes or no question. And then down here, how is it that this credential is industry recognized? I need you to show proof that this credential provides value beyond your own organization. So other businesses across the state of Ohio, how does that provide value to everyone? I like this because they do limit you to the 5,000 characters. You can upload any supporting documentation that you have to prove the requirements of technology focused and industry recognized. Now, if I had chosen certification, I get just an extra field. So again, I'm going to select that it was a certification. What is the name of that certification? And who is the issuing body of that certification? Is it going to be Microsoft? Is it going to be CompTIA? Is it going to be the American Welding Society? Society for Manufacturing Engineers? Where is that certification coming from? So you do have to fill that in. Then again, you're just back to what we did on the other one. How is this technology focused? How does it provide value beyond your organization? And you have the ability to upload any supporting documentation, just like you did on the certificate. And then you're back to the same information you had when we picked one from the pre-approved list. How much does the training cost per person? Who's going to be your training provider? What type of training provider are they? Only because I selected a certification, it wants me to call out beyond tuition, lab fees, manuals, and textbooks. How much is that test going to cost to obtain that certification? And what it will do is it will add it together to give a total training cost of $2,150. And since I did not fill out the certification name on the previous screen, I had just left it blank. Otherwise, it would have pre-populated here in this field. Because my max is $2,000 and this training costs $2,150, I'm only requesting reimbursement for $2,000, leaving me with an employer contribution of $150 per candidate. Again, here with same information. How many current employees, how many prospective, current hourly wage, expected hourly wage. Again, just averaging because these three individuals may not be making the same amount. It pre-populates all of the totals down here. You hit save and close. Now, if you're ready to submit, this is the last screen you will see before you hit that red button of submit. Just agreeing to the terms and conditions, the guidelines, liabilities, enter your name for these acknowledgements, and then you can hit submit. Okay, so that is the application portion. I can pause to take questions or I can just keep going. I don't see anything in the chat. I'll stop talking for just a second.
Yeah, so for those attending, you should have a raise hand button. If you'd like to click that, it'll allow me to unmute you so you can ask a question. You can also type in the chat. For those of you listening on Facebook, if you type a question on Facebook, I could read that out as well. Go ahead and raise hands or type or let us know. All right, I don't see anything at the moment, Tori.
Not a problem. I just wanted to kind of pause since that was the application portion, and now we're going to talk more about the credentials. So in the credential list, when you're searching, you'll notice that there are some very specific credentials: blueprint reading and sketching, NCCR carpentry level 1, Excel 2019 formulas, Tableau desktop specialist. These are one and done. Once you have achieved that credential, you're not going to take any more courses towards that same credential because you've already earned it. What happens, though, is that they also have credentials like mechanical engineering, manufacturing technologies, introduction to robotics, electrical maintenance, an Adobe Creative Suite. So these are topics that are very broad, they're unspecific, and you can use those multiple times for the same individual, and you can do it in different rounds. So if you enter for 3 employees, mechanical engineering, and it's Joe, Bob, and John, the next funding round, you can enter another mechanical engineering for Joe, Bob, and John, because what'll happen is you're going to submit different certificates within mechanical engineering. And I have an example that I'll show you, so it'll look a lot better once we look at that. But just keep in mind that we have these very broad topics, and then we have very specific credentials at the same time. This is a particular example that I'm just mixing college credit and a short-term workshop, and it's 2 very specific credentials. So if I'm going to apply for this F3 fire pumps and accessories, here's all my information. So I've got tuition, books, and lab fees, and we know that these are all reimbursable through TechCred. However, there's also this career services fee that is not an allowable expense for TechCred. So I have to make sure that I remove any of that dollar amount from what I ask for in reimbursement dollars. Then I've got this ASE A6 electrical electronics, $1,300 total, everything's included. So you can see I've added everything up here. My total for all of those is $2,127.50. I'm entering 2 credentials. So here, when I go back to that summary screen, you'll see both of them listed because they were both there, what I needed. And because I could only ask for $2,000 reimbursement, I'm going to put that in for my requested amount, leaving my contribution from the employer at $127.50. Now I know that I'm okay here because that $127.50 is going to encompass the $25.50. Where I subtracted that out on the application is here. So again, when it asks me what is the total cost of training for that credential, I would have entered $827.50. And then when it asked me about the reimbursement portion, we would want to make sure that we submitted, well, I thought I could get back to that screen fairly easy. Here we go. So the training cost per person, we would have put the $827.50, but we would have put $802 in the request reimbursement amount because we can't include that $25.50. So hopefully that makes sense to everyone for that particular example. So in this one, this is going to show you, my next 2 slides are 2 different ways you can fund an apprenticeship program. So let's just say, and all these numbers are made up, I really don't know what they are. This program, this apprenticeship is 10 college courses. It should take an individual 2 years to complete, and the total cost of the program is $13,000. Well, in spring of 2021 for that semester, I'm going to be taking 3D foot scanning in this Agilent maintenance. They're very specific credentials, so I can list them both here because again, I want to get as close to that $2,000 as possible. If I only submit 1 credential, I'm going to be leaving money on the table. So I want to bundle as much as I can to get to that $2,000. So again, we have tuition, books, and lab fees. And then we've got that silly old crazy career services fee. So we know we can't ask for these back in our reimbursement. So when we're back on that screen and it asks us for our totals, this is going to be 1,000. This is going to be 1240.50. So you'll see the summary screen be 2240.50, but we're only requesting $2,000, meaning that we've invested the 240.50 as the employer. And again, I'm good to go here because it does include that 4250 career services down here. We didn't ask for that to be reimbursed. So again, that's how you can pay for an apprenticeship program, by chunking it. You don't want to say, you don't want to list that it's a 10 credit or 10 course program, because A, they won't complete 10 courses within 12 months. So it's going to take them 2 years. And then, you know, you would only be getting back $2,000 on a cost of $13,000. So if we apply in multiple funding rounds, taking bite-sized chunks out of those 10 college courses, this way, we are getting $2,000 this round. And the next round, we're going to apply for what they're taking the following semester. Because we want to keep making sure that we are getting that $2,000 every round. So here's one where we're going to use one of those broad topics. I like to call them umbrella topics. So again, we have an apprenticeship program. This one is 15 courses. It should take an apprentice 3 years, and the program cost is $13,000. But in spring, they're going to be taking these 3 classes right here: Intro to Engineering Technologies, Engineering Graphics, and Engineering Materials. These 3 are not specifically listed as pre-approved credentials on the list out on the TechCred website. But what is listed is Mechanical Engineering Technology. That is how I'm going to bundle everything together to make sure I get the biggest reimbursement I can for these multiple courses in an apprenticeship program. So you can see I've got everything here again: tuition, books, lab fees, career services fee. We know we have to take that $68 out when we ask for reimbursement. Intro to Engineering is going to cost us $489. Engineering Graphics is going to be $756. Engineering Materials is almost $798. So it's just over that $2,000 mark, $2,043. That's how we're going to pay for 3 classes in 1 semester, 1 funding round, using this broad training topic here, because in the next funding round, I can ask for Mechanical Engineering Technology again and list out what are going to be the new courses, how much are those going to be costing us, and then we can add it. Then we'll be able to get reimbursement for the next 2 or 3 classes. Because this is $2,043 and our max is $2,000, and those career services add up to $68, I actually have to subtract a full $68 from that. So when I ask for reimbursement, it'll be $1,975.64. So because we have to make sure we're taking that out. So how does it that we are able to chunk these down and use these categories? So when you submit for your reimbursement, you have to have 3 pieces of information. You have to have an invoice from your training provider. You have to have your proof of payment that the training was paid for. And you have to submit the certification that was received, the certificate of completion, or in the case of college credit classes, the college transcript. When they see that college transcript with these 3 courses on it, that is the evidence that the courses and the credential completed was under Mechanical Engineering Technology. So when you submit for reimbursement on a future funding round, they won't see an Intro to Engineering and Engineering Graphics and Engineering Materials. It'll be 3 completely different courses that are a part of your program. So when you submit something different the next time, still falling under that Mechanical Engineering Technology, they understand that that's different than what you took the first time, and they can go ahead and issue you a reimbursement for that. So that's the end of the slideshow, but I do like to just jump into the live website if we could for just a minute. I kind of want to just show you a little bit more about searching for credentials. I only touched upon it and it can be a little tricky at times. So I want to make sure that I give everybody a little peek at it here. Okay. Do we see the TechCred website now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so to search for a credential, like we said, we've got these 3 menu items at the top. We need to go to the About. We need to come down here, and here's our credential list. And I'm going to point something out really quick too. I almost forgot. This program guidelines is a downloadable document, and it has wonderful information about it. If you have certain questions, it's really good. It addresses most everything. If you forget a little detail here or there from the presentation, it's a really good document, and I encourage anyone to go through that, because like I said, it's really nice. They really covered everything. So we're focusing on credentials. So when you come in here, you're going to see, just like I showed you on the screen print or the screenshot, you can search all, or you can highlight and search any one of these categories that you want to. Okay. Let me come down a little bit further. Here's where we're going to put our keyword when we want to search. Here's those filters. We can search only certificates or only certifications if we want to. Again, I like to leave them wide open to make sure I'm not missing anything. And right off the bat, I want to just explain that be very careful at how you enter things. So you might think it's listed one way. Some other employer may have requested a credential similar or identical, but entered it a different way than you did. You might. So when I search, first I have to learn how to spell. When I search robotics, I want to come down just a little bit further. You can see anything came back that has the word robotics in it. Okay. But what did I miss? Robotic, because it didn't have an S. Let's take it back a little further. Now I'm just going with robot. I think I have to come down. Here we go. FANUC robot operations. You wouldn't have seen this a minute ago because I put in robotics. So you would have not been able to see this credential. So only go out as far as you need to. I would also say with Microsoft, if you know you're looking for Microsoft Excel, I wouldn't probably put the version you've got, 2013, 16, 19, whatever that might be, because here it doesn't matter. Microsoft Excel dashboards. It doesn't care what version of Excel you have that you do training for dashboards in or training for pivot tables in. It's just any version Microsoft Excel training you take for dashboards. So, think about what you're searching. And even if you want to know, what if you're only looking for an advanced course? So down here, I've got this basic and advanced. It's gone because Microsoft A for advanced, there's nothing in the filters or in the credential list that has it like that. So again, back that up to just Microsoft Excel and scroll through the list and kind of decide on your credential from there. So it's easy to just punch something in and go, oh, they must not have it, but yet it just might be listed a different way. One other thing to notice in here, so when you're looking for Microsoft Excel 2016, again, it tells you, is this a certificate or is it a certification? And then you've got this drop-down box for providers. This is educational providers that have come into the TechCred system and identified themselves as a provider of Microsoft Excel 2016 training. This is something that the training provider has to do on their own ambition, and they have to take that and to keep doing that. And they have to keep up on it because every round, more credentials are added from you employers requesting new ones. So we have to go through those new credentials, come out here to the website. It's so easy for us. We just log in with this right here and we can tag it. Now I will tell you, it's a little tedious. I've had the system kind of crash on me before I hit save and I've lost everything. So it does take some work to come out here and do that. So my point is that these are not the only educational providers that you may use. They're not the only educational providers that can probably do that training for you. This just gives you an idea. If you like a training provider that you typically work with and you don't see them, that's okay. Call them up, see if they can offer the training. You don't have to go with someone that's on this list. You also don't have to use a training provider in Ohio. Your company and the employee being trained has to be a resident of Ohio, but the training provider does not have to be. Some of these here, so if you see this little computer monitor in front of anyone's name, it's telling you that we can do this Microsoft Excel 2016 training completely 100% online virtually. I need to update ours because mine still says we can't. I missed one. So when you only have this arrow, we're identifying ourselves as being able to train on Microsoft Excel 2016, but we are not saying that we can do it 100% virtually. And these should link you back then to the training provider's website is what you should have there. So we've got a lot of Microsoft Excel. I know that Lou, you mentioned at the beginning, there's a lot of automotive, a lot of ASE credentials. If you have the need for that, you can see that almost all of these are going to be certifications because ASE is the credentialing body. So where we tried to add a new credential and it asked me who's the issuing body, that would be ASE. You would fill that in there. But you can just come in here and so because I only put ASE, it's pulling out of some of these other ones where that just exists, like database. So lots of different credentials in there. If you're not sure what you want, well, I don't know, I want to see what's out there. Go ahead and click on just one of these categories and just kind of scroll through it. So we went to Internet of Things and cybersecurity. Are you looking for an AWS credential? Are you looking for, let me see, which the other ones in here, the CIW, all these, there's a lot of certifications in here, not many certificates. Certified ethical hacker.
Well, and I was going to say, keep in mind for your automotive repair shops and dealers and such, autonomous is here. And there's a lot of training in here for autonomous vehicles. So
let me go to that category.
It's stuff you're probably going to, yeah. And it's stuff you're probably going to be taking anyway, to stay up with your skills for repairing automotive, but just an FYI on that if you're thinking about it.
Also for your businesses, and Lou and I have had to combat this. A lot of companies felt like when TechCred was first launched that it was only geared toward the manufacturing industry. And that is a misconception. Any business that has IT, any business that has cybersecurity, any business that has administrative duties where you might need Microsoft, you might need data analysis, you might need, I think there's even a digital project manager credential in here somewhere. I can't remember exactly what it was called. This stuff is in here. And if you don't see it, request it. If you can provide evidence that it's short-term, meaning less than 12 months to complete, it's got a technology focus and it's valuable to more than one company, more than your company, that meets the criteria of a credential, and the chances of it being approved is really great, because after the round closes, they have a panel that reviews every single one of those, and they decide together if that should go on or not, or why it might not be. I don't know a lot about autonomous and stuff, so I'm not sure everything I'm looking for, but I am in the military and smart transportation section only. So, you can come in here. There's a lot I see to do with different types of these different battery cells. where did I see that? Oh, here's your drone technology. This is great. This is actually only a certificate. So if you have, just short-term training, like workshops that you want to attend, you can use that kind of as an umbrella topic, because if you're learning anything with the FAA drone technology UAS, it's going to be able to fall underneath that as your credential, because it's not specific at all. And it doesn't require that third-party test. Lou, is there anything else you wanted me to show everybody?
No, does anybody, since we've kind of driven through this, anybody on the webinar have anything that they want us to look at? And construction technology, I mean, it's just not for roads, it's, for construction. There really is a lot of stuff.
1,220 credentials.
Yep. And if you don't see it, add it.
We did this is Lou and I, we're kind of a roadshow team doing these presentations, and we did one for some Lucas County professional engineers. They found a lot in here. This Autodesk, they had some AutoCAD that they found, and they actually just reached out to me yesterday about a credential from, I want to say it was Oracle, and it was a software for it. Well, I think that might have been the one. It was a software kind of geared towards project management, and it absolutely 100% met the criteria. So I just explained, what you have to put in here. There's a lot of Oracle in here. Oops, I'm still under construction. The specific credential he was looking at just wasn't under here. So hopefully he'll be able to submit that before the deadline, and we'll see it be added. That'll be awesome. I always tell everybody, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Lou will tell you the same thing. Whether or not you're using Northwest State as your training provider, it doesn't really matter to me. I've taken the thought process of, I just want to make sure Northwest Ohio businesses take advantage of this incredible opportunity. Lou's awesome example of Grobe, they've gotten $180,000 for training that they were already going to do anyway. They didn't decide to do training because there was funding. They were already doing it. In bonus, they just got 180 grand back as they do it. I have companies here in Northwest Ohio, in my little corner over here, that have probably gotten up to about anywhere from 120 to 150. They don't submit for 30 every time, especially in the beginning. They were kind of just testing the waters, seeing how it was working. But since then, I've got a brand new company that I helped last Friday complete the application first time, and they're submitting for $28,200. So, it's perfect. It's a wonderful program. It's not hard. Just let me know if you need help with anything.
Oh, sorry, we had a question about incumbent worker. Thanks, Carol. Yes, for those companies that are using incumbent worker training dollars through Job and Family Services, if you're paying an additional cost to get your workers trained, yes, of course, that could qualify for TechCred.
Absolutely.
And even when you're doing apprenticeships, I think there's some companies over there that have apprenticeships. Again, what we do is, I get it's a 2-year degree, but they can be broken down by semester or whatever and provided a certificate, and will qualify most often.
And I'll just add one thing to that, Lou. So those that have apprenticeships here, if they don't want to submit the college transcript, I have no problem knowing that they completed it. I see that in our system. I can create a certificate for them that's very specific to each one of the classes they took. That's no problem. I help them do that. But the other thing is you kind of said per semester. Well, since you have 12 months to complete, we might have to combine a couple of semesters, because we don't want you to leave any of that money sitting out there that you could have utilized. You don't know, maybe come fall, you've got other training you want to do. So we could always add the spring semester and the fall semester together, because the deadline to submit is January 29th. They will take approximately 4 weeks to notify you if your application has been awarded and funded. They then will take about another 4 weeks to actually send you a formalized agreement, just giving the parameters and the dates and what you need to do. You have to sign that agreement and just send it back to them. Like you can literally just turn that around in a matter of minutes. But so you've even got 2 months after you submit your application is kind of an additional buffer. So adding the spring and the fall together is easy, and it's going to definitely be completed in that 12 months, because in the next funding round, maybe you've decided to offer someone else an apprenticeship, or another department has come to you and says, hey, I really need to get my employees trained in this particular credential, and you want to use that money for something else. Okay, I think that's all I had to say now.
Just a reminder, you can hit the hand raise button or type in the chat if any of you have any questions.
Well, if you don't have any questions today, you all know how to get a hold of us, David, Audrey, and your group over there, they can get a hold of us.
Absolutely.
Yep, that's right. Lou's email is there in the chat. And you can find more information on TSEP at Tiffin-Seneca.org. Let's see, do we have another question? Nope. Just thank you. Thank you from several people in the chat. But yes, the Tiffin-Seneca Economic Partnership and the Seneca Regional Chamber of Commerce would like to thank both of you for presenting today on TechCred. If anyone has any questions, we'll make sure to get you connected. Thank you very much for your time. And is there anything else you would like to say to the group as we close up here?
Just thank you for this opportunity, and we enjoy doing this, and it truly is a great program. It really is. If you use it once, you'll be convinced.
I agree completely. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks so much, guys. We'll go ahead and wrap up. Thanks everyone for joining. Have a great day.